Hey everyone, it's Strange Michael. I hope you're doing well today. I'm sorry I've been so all over the place recently. Of course, I started doing edited videos, and then I realized really quick, I can't keep up with all the newer horror releases, mainly because they're coming out to theaters, and I can't make it to the theaters to go see those things. So, the channel has to kind of go back to what it was before. I know a lot of people aren't really thrilled about that, I'm sorry, but it's kind of all I can really do, and I will have a Halloween franchise ranking up soon, if not before this video at some point. I just have to have the time to record it. And I know it's like 2 weeks late. Halloween was like 2 weeks ago, almost 3 weeks ago, but I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Anyway, so let me go ahead and talk about a movie for the channel. I'll probably gotta go back to the old method I had of talking about 2 or 3 movies a week, whether they're good or bad, whatever, whether they're part of a franchise or whatever, now that I don't have to worry so much about franchise stuff, now that Hellraiser and Halloween and Nightmare on Elm Street are out of the way, and Silent Night, Deadly Night. Anyway, I got a Shudder account recently, as I talked about when I had the Creepshow review and the Deadstream review, and I love Shudder so far. I think it's fantastic. The big thing I wanted to do when I first got it, since I'd been waiting forever for VHS 99 to come out, which is also on there, I wanted to have a video, or a movie, to check out first to really excite myself about the kind of things I'll experience on there. I wanted to find one of the best reviewed movies I could find that was listed on there. And the one I've consistently heard about since 2020 when it came out. It was a pandemic movie called Host. Not The Host, just Host. Came out in 2020. You can pretty much only watch it on Shudder as far as I know. I had never seen it. I had heard multiple people talk about how great it was, big and small reviewers in the community of horror. And I wanted to check it out and see what it would be like. And I took out the time, and I'll be honest with you, I really, really, really liked this movie. It wasn't amazing, it wasn't perfect or anything, but it was made in the pandemic. I can't even imagine what the freaking budget was on this. It seems like it would be such a limited budget for what they did, but man, the kind of filmmaking that went into this, if you're a found footage fan, you're going to be impressed. It's not really just a straight up found footage movie. It's technically laptop horror, if you want to call it that subgenre, if that even is a subgenre. I guess it would technically be a found footage movie, but kind of not. Laptop horror would be things like Unfriended, or Unfriended the Dark Web, or in this case, Host. Basically, there's a group of friends who are going to do an online seance with a psychic tarot card reading lady, and only one of them, the main girl, has met this lady. The rest of them have not. They do a Zoom call together, and it's like a group of like 5 or 6 girls and then this lady. And while they're on camera, they may or may not have summoned some kind of demon of some sort, or a ghost, or some sort of something that could be messing with them. We don't really know for sure. You do find out later on, but you may or may not know for sure while you're watching this movie what's really happening here. And let me tell you this, I've never seen a laptop horror film. This is my first one ever. This is the first thing I watched on Shudder, and it's the first ever laptop horror film I watched. I don't know about Unfriended, I don't know about Unfriended Dark Web, or anything like these kinds of movies. But I will tell you, I really enjoyed this. It wasn't as good as a typical found footage movie in my opinion, but this, as it was surprisingly good. It's about a 57-minute long movie. Yeah, it's underneath an hour. In 2020, an hour-long movie to be this celebrated should tell you a lot. Now, you can only do so much with a laptop horror film. You have to keep these characters on screen. You have to keep them in the focus of the camera. The friendship is really what kind of worried me about these younger women. When I realized it was pretty much all girls and like one guy, I was a little nervous, because I was like, what is this going to be like? It's going to be snarkiness all the time. And it wasn't. It wasn't, if you're like myself and you get annoyed with how people just beat the pandemic in everybody's head, I don't care what side you're on, it's obnoxious over time. I was worried about that going into this, and I have to be honest with you, it didn't go that route. It was actually just fun to watch these people make some little jokes here and there, not about the pandemic itself, but about things surrounding it. For example, one girl talks about how you now have to fart to cover up a cough, rather than vice versa. That was genuinely funny. There's some really good lines in here, and there's some really solid characters in here. My personal favorite being the one that's a British girl with glasses. I really think she's pretty funny, even in her snark. I really enjoyed this, if I can tell you that much. I think the plot and concept is pretty cool, and I think for sure the execution of it is really surprisingly good. If you haven't seen Host, I'm gonna join the bandwagon. I'm gonna tell you, after 2 years of it being out, after all the hype, all the excitement I've heard about this thing, it really lived up to that. The acting was good, the writing is solid, like I said. I can't really talk too much about cinematography or like the special effects. There's really not much of the cinematography because it's literally just everybody filming in laptop lighting. you know? You might have a background light on or something. That's really it. But it looked good for what it was. As a laptop horror, it looked real. It didn't look like just fake stuff. It feels like everybody was on an actual laptop recording themselves on this Zoom call. And it worked. It worked. It did exactly what it had to do. And that's great. I really appreciated that about it. Now let's talk about the special effects I brought up just a moment ago. The special effects, when they're there, they look good. It's mostly practical effects, most of the time. There's a couple of CGI effects that actually are really good, one of them involving filters, like Instagram filters. And I thought that was genius. That was something I could not believe that no one had ever thought of, no one had ever put into a movie, or even a regular film, not even a laptop horror film, just anything else out there. It really surprised me how creative this film was, and it really showed low-budget restraints can really bring out the best of the best directors and the writers out there that we don't even know about yet in the indie world. And yeah, I'd call this an indie film for the kind of budget it had and everything. I'm glad that Shudder has promoted this as much as they had. By the way, there's not really any kind of music. It doesn't really need that because it is a laptop horror film. But Host was really solid, and I want to give the director a shout out too. I think everybody already knows his name, but still I think it's worth bringing up. Rob Savage. He even appeared on Chris Stuckman's channel. I remember seeing that interview. It kind of inspired me a little bit too on what I wanted to do with some of my writing, even though I'm not working on found footage movies or anything like that. Anyway, Host, have you guys seen this awesome little flick? I really recommend it. I think if you haven't seen it, you're really missing out. And again, I'm sorry to go back to this kind of format for the videos. I know a lot of people aren't really thrilled about that, but I gotta be honest with you, the schedule that I have to make videos for right now, the kind of working schedule I'm on right now, it's really hectic, man. I'm sorry. I like the edited videos too. I think a lot of people really enjoyed that for everything from like Deadstream to Halloween Ends, Grim Cuddy, all these different things. Sorry, guys. I can only do so much. But thank you for being here if you checked out the video, and thank you for, you know, hopefully this will convince you to get a Shudder account and go check this out. If I had to rate Host on a 5-star basis, I'd probably give it about a 4 out of 5 stars. I have to tell you, I'm very impressed, and I do want to check out Unfriended and Unfriended Dark Web, even though they have nothing to do with this movie, because I'm curious what laptop horror can be like and how well received those two movies were at the time when they came out. So anyway, have you seen Host? What did you think about it? Put your thoughts and comments down below. I would love to hear what you guys have to say about this awesome little movie. Thank you for watching, guys. God bless you. Goodbye.